Good morning on your Monday, March 3rd. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett, streaming on News 6 Plus. Click Orlando.com and our YouTube channel. I'm Bridgett Ellison. Good to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend. We're kicking off this Monday with some nice, cool air. We have our weather, traffic, and top headlines coming up. And we have a live interview with a nurse practitioner this morning as we talk about Colorectal Awareness Month. And so you'll want to find out more about what's happening with that and the trends, especially affecting more young people. So we'll get some insight from her coming up in a little bit. First, though, getting you ready to head out. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos has a really nice forecast lined up for us today. Good morning.
Good morning, Bridget. Yeah, the weather's going to be fantastic. My jacket might be needed this morning, and then throughout the day, you'll peel off that layer and just to really enjoy a nice afternoon. Tons of sunshine, staying dry today, tomorrow. Then as we head into Wednesday, things will change. Go pretty soggy and stormy Wednesday before we drop almost 15 to 20
Wow.
degrees as we head
Little
into
roller
Thursday.
coaster this week.
Another mixed bag to start the first full week of March, shall we? So let's take it to the maps and show you what's going on right now. This is a live look at Cape Canaveral. Nice start to the day. That breeze is certainly still picking up, gusting upwards about 15 miles per hour. Temperature is currently sitting at about 60 degrees. Now, what to expect for the rest of the week? Again, nice start to the work week. Stormy conditions at times expected to arrive Wednesday afternoon, clearing up by Thursday, where temperatures will be dipping back down into the 60s for daytime highs. So temperatures out the door right now, quite a spread. We're in those 40s, 50s, and 60s at this point in time, right? 51 in Orlando. We also had that nice breeze in place, picking up between about 10 to 15. It's a little weaker than what we experienced about an hour or two ago, but still kind of breezy at times this afternoon. So as we take you here hour by hour, 74, that is going to be our high in Orlando, a touch cooler across areas in Volusia County in the upper 60s. Then we are watching the progress of this next storm. This is developing, really not well defined this morning, but it will as we head into your Tuesday afternoon. But look at the blow up and the rain and the storms all across the deep south. This line will have that potential developing strong severe weather outbreaks in the forecast further to our north. Locally here, it looks like the rain will be knocking on our doorstep, or will be knocking on our door at about 11, 12 o'clock on Wednesday in the afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, and it kind of sweeping through central Florida till about 5, 6 o'clock. Then that cool air rushes in where temperatures will be dropping. So your rain chances look like this for Wednesday, up to about a 70 to 90% shot for rain. But notice that the severe weather potential is going to be more bullseyed across the deep south on Tuesday. Shifts further east on Wednesday. You can see that the slight risk stays further north up through Georgia and the Carolinas. Some of that marginal risk, basically a level 1 out of 5, stretches as far south as Orange and Osceola County. So that is something that we are going to be watching. As of now, a strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out, but we're not seeing a big severe weather concern for your Wednesday. Then once all that rain and cloud cover clears out, look at your highs on Thursday. Wednesday will be in those mid 80s. Thursday will be down into the 60s before temperatures rebound pretty quickly right back into the 70s on Friday, into the 80s on Saturday, all ahead of another cold front that's expected to come through on Sunday. That's going to start bumping up rain chances again up about 50%. But don't forget, rain or shine, we do lose that hour of sleep as you go to bed Saturday night and into early Sunday morning. Daylight saving officially begins.
Oh,
I know. But you know what? At the end of the day, Jonathan Kegas did a fantastic write-up on clickorlando.com. I'll actually post it on my Facebook page because this is the one switch in time that people loathe because of, losing the hour of sleep. But he basically did the math and showed you if we don't change the clocks,
yeah.
what your summer through August and September would look like. We're talking about sun setting at like 5:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And the sun wouldn't rise until like 8:30. So we just have to kind of embrace the hour, the lost hour, and just know that it's at the end of the day, it's for the good of our summer, for sure.
And I don't know if your girls are like this, but my kids, they get that burst of energy at night and they sort of want to go out and get that one more bike ride or whatever in, and it's already dark. And so you're it'll help out with that too.
Oh, for sure, for
Hmm.
sure. I mean, the weather's starting to get not as comfortable in the summer, so already, but maybe an extra hour in the pool or something. That's what they always try to push for in the
Yes,
summer.
yes. At least we can see them a little bit
Exactly,
longer.
exactly.
All right. Thanks, Candace.
Um,
All right. Interesting looking forecast this week. And we want to check in with Trooper Steve and see what he is up to this morning and how the roads are looking. Good morning.
Good morning, Bridget.
How's it
Roadways,
going?
oh, it's going. It is going.
I
The
hear a
delays
little.
are everywhere. Yeah, I've been battling this since probably Thursday of
Yeah.
last week. So it's back and forth, and the events don't stop. The responsibilities don't stop. So I have to keep going. And yeah, this is
I'm
what
going
you
to give
get
you a
this morning
hack.
on a Monday.
I'm going to give you a hack after the show. We'll talk.
The hack is stay home and start saying no. That's the thing. But can't Crystal hooked me up. I don't know. This looks a little weird, but I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
She said it's a cup of soup, cream of chicken flavor with other
Yeah.
natural flavors. She says that
Yes.
it helps with her throat and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I
I
don't know
got
how I
some of those
necessarily feel
too. If
about
you want,
this.
if you prefer, I have beef bone broth. If you want to change flavors,
All
I
right,
got
I'll
little
try the
packets of
chicken
that
flavor
too.
first, and then
Let me know.
I'll try the chicken and then I'll come to you tomorrow and we'll see
Okay.
how it goes. But
Okay.
right, let's go to the roads. Right now, we're seeing those hot spots, pretty much routine hot spots, guys. Nothing out of the normal this morning. Eastbound I-4, it's slow. You're expecting that. Where it's not as slow as it normally is over by 535. So drive times, they're high, but they're not catastrophic this morning. Southbound Turnpike through Montverde area through the Lake County, a little slow as well. 39 minutes, Champions Gate 2408. That is kind of high this morning. So please take it nice and easy. And then these delays started late this morning, westbound I-4 at Lake Mary. They are now settling in this morning. So no crashes, which is always a good thing. There was a report of a crash out in Brevard County earlier this morning out by 520 I-95, but you can see the sun is shining and the roadways are moving. Melbourne, good morning to you. Even on the south end, some minor crashes down there, but none that are blocking any travel lanes. And then St. Cloud, you guys are bumper to bumper this morning along US 192 as you're headed towards the Florida Turnpike. So all in all, pretty routine morning, Bridget, with no major crashes. I'm telling you, I looked over at Chief this morning and I said, I really, it's unfortunate to say this, but I wish I had something to talk about because my voice was so out, my mind was foggy. I just needed a task rather than doing the general traffic
Mm-hmm.
reporting was a little difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back to business all this week. So
All right.
stream at 10.
Okay. Well, rest your voice as much as you can.
All right, we'll
All
talk
right.
later.
Okay. Thanks. Do want to get to some of the headlines this morning. Unfortunately, we're sad to tell you that there's been another fatal crash involving a local high school senior over the weekend. A Windermere High School senior lost his life. There will be grief counselors at the school today. And News 6's Mark Lehman has more about this second tragedy just within weeks of losing another student. We also have more on this story if you want to take a look at it on clickorlando.com. But again, that senior killed in a crash along Central Florida Parkway, along with three other people over the weekend. So we'll continue following that story. We've been hearing some reports that there was speeding involved, possibly racing involved. But again, counselors will be at Windermere High School today as students and the staff are mourning the loss of that student, Sammy Lahick. So we'll keep you updated. Also this morning, Silver Airlines is closed here in Orlando, even though they have flights scheduled that were supposed to be scheduled from the Panhandle to the Keys. They are quiet. This was the look at the desk this morning at Orlando International. And right now, if you pull up their website, it's saying that, that they're not available. But the airline hasn't said anything yet about these cancellations. Silver did file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in December, but at that time it said all the tickets would still be valid and operations would continue as usual. Also this morning, big questions about the future of relations between the United States and Ukraine after a contentious meeting at the White House on Friday. This morning, leaders of the European Union are rallying around the Ukrainian president as they work to bring a peaceful end to the 3-year war with Russia. And as reporter Derek Waller explains, those leaders admit any kind of deal would need American support.
More fallout after Friday's Oval Office clash between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right.
The blow-up left a deal to give the U.S. partial access to Ukraine's minerals unsigned. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says it's off the table for now.
It is impossible to have an economic deal without a peace deal.
Across the Atlantic in London, more than a dozen leaders from Europe and Canada met with Zelensky for an emergency summit. Afterwards, United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the group is working on a Russia-Ukraine peace deal to present to President Trump. In the meantime, Starmer said the group will bolster military aid to Ukraine and look at building a coalition of peacekeeping troops from Europe.
Europe must do the heavy lifting, but to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong U.S. backing.
While in London, Zelensky told reporters he believes he can salvage his relationship with President Trump. In Moscow Sunday, Russia's top diplomat praised the president's handling of his meeting with Zelensky. The president later posted on social media, "We should spend less time thinking about Putin and more time worrying about migrants." Meanwhile, multiple U.S. officials tell CBS News Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has directed U.S. Cyber Command to pause planning against Russia, including offensive digital actions. The duration and reason for the pause are unclear as the president pushes for a peace deal. Derek Waller, CBS News.
Also this morning, we are looking into a Rockledge hospital that is about to close. Its new owner, Orlando Health, says the facility is in bad shape, and so it is not worth it to try and make repairs. But in the meantime, News 6's Jarrell Baker shows us how more than 1,000 people have signed an online petition to try to find a different solution to serve their community.
Martine Hobbs says one of the main reasons she and her family moved right across the street from the Rockledge Hospital was to be close to the facility. You and your family ever needed the hospital as well?
Oh, yeah. So my daughter choked on a crab leg shell, and we had to run right across to have them look at it, and they had to keep her overnight, actually.
The hospital is also a reason her mother-in-law, Sarah Hobbs, lives right around the corner.
I got a grandchild, so it's always nice to know that if there's anything, because kids fall or whatever, it's nice to know that it's just there.
That's why more than 1,400 people have signed this petition on change.org in hopes to prevent losing the hospital after Orlando Health announcing last month they will shut the hospital down.
But we're just asking not to be forgotten.
Petition creator Chris DeAndrea says even though the petition signatures may not stop the closure, he hopes it'll push Orlando Health to place a temporary ER and other medical services in the area.
A new facility might take 3-4 years, and for Cocoa and Rockledge residents to not have emergency facility or emergency care for all that time, it's going to be problematic.
The hospital group says that the Rockledge Hospital was in poor condition and determined that the cost to repair and renovate the hospital far exceeds the cost of a new state-of-the-art hospital. DeAndrea says that they're hoping to get 10,000 signatures to show Orlando Health that people in Rockledge need their help.
We're losing almost 300 beds with this Rockledge Hospital shutdown, so whether they can create an emergency facility that has 30 or 50 beds, just something to fill the gap while they're enacting this process.
And we'll continue to follow that story and keep you updated. Also this morning, farther north in the Carolinas, they are dealing with some really dangerous and devastating wildfires. This is a look at what they're up against, a wall of flames coming within feet of homes here, threatening to destroy everything. The Carolina fire is burning near Myrtle Beach, and the flames are so intense that someone captured them even from the view from a window inside of a plane flying over that area. And so far, it has burned about 1,600 acres and is 30% contained, and people are on edge who live nearby. A similar scene also in North Carolina, where evacuation orders were issued over the weekend for a fast-spreading fire burning in the town of Tryon, just south of Asheville. Of course, that area already having experienced so much devastation from Hurricane Helene as it moved through that area. At last check, the Tryon area fire, 0% contained and burned about 500 acres. We're taking a quick break and we'll be back with more in a live interview about Colorectal Awareness Month. Welcome back. You know, it is March 3rd, and we always like to get results for your health. And March happens to be Colorectal Awareness Month. This was started back in 2000 to help build more awareness around colorectal cancers. And they want people to start checks at age 45. And so that's part of that awareness there. This morning, we have nurse practitioner Justine Carotto with us, and we appreciate you joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Like Trooper Steve, I have a bit of a frog this morning, so I apologize.
That's okay. We will try not to hold you too long, but you know, this is a big month for colorectal awareness, and that was something that's just started in the past 25 years. People want more awareness around younger people getting screened because they're expecting that number to keep going up. But have we really pinpointed why more young people are being diagnosed with colorectal cancers?
Most definitely. One, we know that people are getting screened earlier, so that's helpful, obviously, and it does improve your chances of survival of colorectal cancer. But some of the main reasons that we see the increase in the younger population is lifestyle. Processed foods, leading a sedentary lifestyle, meaning not physically active, the increase in alcohol intake all contribute to those risk factors of developing colon cancer.
Like you said, getting screened earlier also, you know, contributing to that. When we talk about screenings, what should people be planning to do with that? Say you're turning 45 this year, and so that's something you need to add into your annual checkups and everything. Is this something you need to get done every year? Does your doctor prescribe somewhere for you to go for the screening? How does that work?
Sure. First and foremost, we encourage people to get screened regularly for all of your health conditions. So we like to see you when you're healthy. We healthcare providers love healthy people, and that way we can teach you and train you and screen you to keep you as healthy as we can. As far as what do, you're 45 years old and you're going in for your regular annual physical, your healthcare provider should be talking to you about your risk factors for developing it and the importance of screening. The recommendation is we do start screening at the age of 45.
Okay, and
And it's
so,
not annually. That's the main
oh,
thing.
okay, so,
Depending upon what testing you have. So if you have a colonoscopy, which is the gold standard, depending upon what they find in your screening colonoscopy, will kind of determine how frequently. More often than not, if you have a nice, regular, good colon, it's 10 years. Now,
mhm,
if you have some other factors, maybe they found polyps, which are growths in the colon.
mhm,
Maybe if you have a family history of colon
mhm.
cancer, diabetes, and some other risk factors, then we would probably do it more often, maybe 3 to 5 years.
Okay, and so you talked about that gold standard of the colonoscopy, but there's other ways to go about it, and you talked about like even the at-home test. So is that something that can be very expensive or time-consuming, or how can we go about making sure we can make it affordable for everyone?
Sure. So most testing is covered because it's considered preventative. So whether it's a colonoscopy, whether it's a Cologuard, which is testing the DNA and blood for testing, whether it's a fit kit, things like that, those should be covered by most insurances. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of the Accountable Care Act also. So those should be covered. I personally encourage my patients to have the colonoscopy.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, if you have history of polyps, which you might not know until you have your colonoscopy, um, it's something that you just decrease your risk by having the screening colonoscopy. They remove those polyps at the time of the colonoscopy. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, you've now decreased or completely eliminated your chance of developing colorectal cancer.
All right. And you know, you're a nurse, you're used to your patients sometimes complaining about different things, because sometimes the best medicine is not always pleasant. But with colonoscopies, a lot of people worry about the prep. Have there been any advancements to sort of make it easier for people to prepare with that without so much nausea and dread about that process of getting ready for it?
You know, what I find more often than not, it's our fear that's more of a driving factor. So it's that fear of the unknown. And none of us fears the good stories about, hey, it was okay. I
Mm-hmm.
had it done and now I've got a clean bill of health. Most of us hear, oh my God, it was horrible. You know, I was so sick. Oh, I hated it. You know, those are the things that we hear. And so what I usually tell people is the prep, there are different preps. You should discuss that with your gastroenterologist when they schedule you for your colonoscopy. And just tell them if you have issues with drinking things. There are different preparations. But really, it's a temporary discomfort
Mm-hmm.
potentially for something that is so vital.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And also, people have to take time off from work too, and so sometimes it's hard to encourage people to do that. But you can time it, try to work with your practitioners around maybe some times that work better with your schedule too.
Correct. You know, I've encouraged people to partner up. That's the biggest thing is having someone taking them to their visits because someone has to drive you home. So people, well, I don't have anyone. So I encourage them to partner up, you know, have a girlfriend, have a guy
Mm-hmm,
friend that you schedule your procedures at a certain time and
mm-hmm,
have like one driver for three people. You'd be
mm-hmm.
surprised at how effective that could be. Some church groups have actually done that, where they have church groups where there's a person that's designated that helps take people to their screenings.
Mm-hmm. That's really great. That's a good idea, just to help people sort of support one another and just making sure they make their health a priority. But unfortunately, like we said, these numbers expected to go up. So, like, what are some of the things that you tell people in terms of just improving, like as far as signs to watch out for that they might need to get checked, and other ways to also improve their colorectal health overall in the long run?
Sure. Well, some signs you want to be on the lookout for, no matter what age you are, is any kind of change in your bowel habits. You know, all of a sudden you seem to have more frequent diarrhea, or maybe you have constipation, or perhaps you have a change in your stool pattern or the size. You know, maybe it was, you know, I hate to be graphic, but it is what it is. It's part of life. We all do it. We should be at least. You notice that the size of your stool changes, or you see blood in your stool if you're experiencing kind of abdominal pain. Things like that are really important to share with your healthcare provider so that you can evaluate your risk for maybe getting screened earlier, or maybe if you've been putting it off, the importance of getting screened.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, getting screened earlier too with a family history. So what would that entail, a family history, in case someone may need to go in and not be aware that they might need to be getting these screenings earlier?
Yeah, one, I encourage families to talk. Too often than not, families are very private. We don't
Mm-hmm.
discuss our healthcare concerns or our diagnoses.
Mm-hmm.
And families need to know what runs in our family. Is it diabetes? Is it heart disease? Is it colon cancer? And
Mm-hmm.
we tend to be private, but we're not doing a service to anyone. In fact, we're hurting people if
Mm-hmm.
they don't know their risk factors of increase. You know, some of the things I tell people to do to try to prevent being diagnosed with colon cancer is look at your diet. These are the cheapy things that are really increase your chances of decreased risk of developing colon cancer, or if you develop it, minimal problems with it. Okay, earlier staging, and that's eating healthy, meaning fruits, vegetables, whole grain foods. Think higher fiber diet. If you're a smoker, stop smoking. It really does have a contributing factor. Decrease or eliminate alcohol. That's another thing that you can do. And get moving. I tell people physical activity is vital. When you lead a sedentary lifestyle, you increase your chances of not only colorectal cancer, but heart disease, diabetes, obesity, etc. So get moving. It makes you feel good inside and outside.
Well, great advice. And we can also find more at cdc.gov, the American Cancer Society, colorectalcancer.org. And Dress in Blue is actually on Friday, March 7th, I believe. So that helps raise awareness as well.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for sharing this information with
you.
your people. It's so vital.
Thank you so much, Justine Kuroda, nurse practitioner. We appreciate you.
Have an awesome day. Take care.
You too. Hope your voice feels better.
Thank you.
Also this morning, a few months ago, the IRS announced that it would be sending payments to eligible taxpayers who did not receive one or more stimulus checks during the pandemic. And now, new this morning, the Better Business Bureau issuing another warning around this. It turns out that there are crooks out there looking to get your personal information. Here is News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden with more.
When the IRS announced that special payments would be going to 1 million taxpayers who didn't claim their 2021 recovery rebate credit, it got the attention of both taxpayers and fraudsters.
They're anxious to get their hands on that money, and scammers are depending on that.
Holly Sammons is the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau serving Central Florida. She says consumers have reported getting text messages and emails that appear to be from the IRS saying they're eligible to receive a $1,400 economic impact payment, but they'll need to provide personal information by clicking the link. The government is offering the payments to those who qualify, but these texts are not from the government. How do we know? Does the IRS ever send links?
No, we do not send links via email or text.
Because we asked when we interviewed former IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel. Those texts and emails are coming from criminals trying to get your information.
They're asking you to verify things like your full name, your address, social security number, your date of birth.
The risk might not just be to your information, it could also be harmful to your device.
Anytime you receive a link and you click on it, that's where the trouble could start.
Here's how it works. If you're eligible for the payment, the IRS says you don't have to do anything. They will deposit it into the bank account on your 2023 return or mail it to you. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at lbolden@wkmg.com. Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
And if you'd like to see more on that story or share it, go to clickorlando.com. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon. Have a good morning.